So this video is about the connection between biological psychiatry, Harvard psychiatrists, Ivy League schools, eugenics, scientific racism, social Darwinism. These are the foundations of transgenics and eugenics. Social policy, legislation, the sciences, paganism, atheism. And those who do not agree with me are rather daft, rather farcical. And those who do, depending on how much they agree with me, they are probably very intuitive, very discerning, very percipient, very perspicacious, very perceptive. So bear with me through this whole video and keep in mind that this is also part of the behavior experiment. How well I can behave now that I'm avoiding covert drugging for the most part. They gassed me heavily last night, very stuffy nose, very runny nose. But for the most part, I haven't gone out to eat food. I've been eating sandwiches and I've been keeping drinks in my room. So as you see these pictures, keep in mind this is Adam Cohen's book, Imbeciles, the Supreme Court, American Eugenics, and the Sterilization of Carrie Buck. Keep in mind he's a graduate of Harvard Law School and a former member of the New York Times editorial board and a senior writer for Time magazine. These are valid sources. These are the facts. I've put them together in a way that you cannot possibly miss that I'm correct. And keep in mind that Laughlin, the son of a fake Christian and a so-called intellectual that taught ancient languages, who lived in Hiram, the city of Hiram, and taught at Hiram College. Obviously a reference to Hiram Abiff, one of the most celebrated individuals in Freemasonry. Keep in mind that Masonry combines paganism, fake Christianity, and quote-unquote intellect or the sciences. Keep in mind that Masonry, the military, law enforcement, they are all concerned with the order of society, the organization, and that is absolutely what eugenics is about. Focus on the underlying part, and I urge you to read the book. This is a very serious issue. These are not baseless allegations. What I am insinuating is absolutely correct, and anyone who has done their research will almost certainly ascertain the same ideas and information. Nebraska's governor insisted his state sterilization bill seemed more in keeping with the pagan age than with the teachings of Christianity, and he declared in his veto message that man is more than an animal. Chapter 4, Harry Laughlin. It says the sterilization movement was national in other ways as well. It had prominent citizens in its ranks, drawn from the worlds of science, medicine, law, and politics, and it was receiving extensive attention in newspapers and magazines. Goes on to say a one-time Harvard zoology professor. Okay, so that was Charles, the Eugenics Record Office had been founded by Charles Davenport, a one-time Harvard zoology professor, but it was managed day to day by Harry Laughlin, who was arguably the nation's most influential eugenicist, the man I just described. When Harry was 3, they settled in Hiram, Ohio, where the elder Laughlin became president of Hiram College, another disciple of Christ-affiliated school. Next, they moved to Wichita, Kansas, where George Laughlin once again taught ancient languages, this time at Garfield University. Reminds me of the title, The Ancient and Accepted Scottish Rite, and how they're concerned with paganism. Obviously, a man who teaches ancient languages is very familiar with the ancient cultures and the pagan religions of those times. Laughlin predicted that eventually the world would be inhabited by an enlightened race, Caucasian in blood, Christian in religion, and free in government. We all know that there are pagan groups behind Christianity and the major Christian movements. We're not going to get into that. I wanted to make this a lot shorter than it's going to be. Let me just wrap this up by reading the rest of these real fast. Charles Davenport attended Harvard University from which he received an AB in 1889 and a PhD in biology in 1892. Davenport decided to establish his own academic career. He approached the Carnegie Institution, which had recently been founded by the industrialist Andrew Carnegie, with a sizable endowment. Davenport suspected that mental traits such as personality and a disposition toward delinquency followed hereditary patterns of inheritance as much as physical traits did, and he was eager to research that question. So the eugenicists are the ones who championed the biological psychiatrist movement, the nature over nurture side of the debate. Davenport ended his short book with a plan for further work, which included a plea to the nation's philanthropists to fund increased research. Vastly more effective than $10 million to charity would be $10 million to eugenics, he insisted. Goes on to say, redeem mankind from vice, imbecility, and suffering, he wrote, would be the world's wisest philanthropist. And finally, I believe this is the last one I'm going to go over in this video. Davenport recruited other scientists from leading universities. William Welch, the dean of Johns Hopkins School of Medicine, agreed to be vice chairman, and E.E. Southard, a Harvard psychiatrist, signed on as a board member. Davenport also persuaded John D. Rockefeller, the world's richest man, to underwrite fellowships at the Eugenics Record Office. Rockefeller, who was troubled by the human defects he saw all around him, was creating his own organization, the Bureau of Social Hygiene, to end prostitution, venereal disease, and other societal ills. And I'm sure you all by now have made the link between that and them sabotaging my love life. Eugenicists are notorious for fabricating, falsifying, and doing whatever they can to bring in a white world order, which incorporates Christian principles with scientific and paganist ones. Now, Christianity in its pure form is superior, as the first thing I've underlined and pointed that out, that sterilization, these are treating man like an animal. It's very pagan. It's reminiscent of a pagan era. It's not true Christianity. So the people who are doing this are perverting Christianity, which is exactly what scientific Satanists do. They use science to pervert Christianity and to make people think they are worshiping the one true God and living in a way that is holy. But really, it is impure, it is detestable, and one must despise them for this fake version of Christianity and this true version of paganism, as they team up with atheists, secular humanists, and so-called progressives to bring in this feministic, LGBT-friendly New World Order of population control, newgenics, eugenics, and transgenics. Thank you. I've made a video like this in the past, so I'm going to establish the racism of the left and the right. I have a lot of pictures to go through. There's 26 of them. And I have a lot of reason to be angry. But watch me display superior discipline and self-control. So this person, he was dumb enough to think that only 6 million people died in World War II. Okay, this is the type of people I argue with. People, all my exchanges I always win, and there's thousands and thousands of these. This is just 26 of them in the last 3 years, I believe. Out of 7 years I've been on YouTube. And keep in mind, my videos get maybe an average of 40 views a video, mostly the same viewers. So why am I getting thousands and thousands of trolls, and why are they harassing me? Well, because both the left and the right are racist. And the right takes a very ignorant, typical kind of southern, uneducated approach to racism. And the left takes a more scientific, racist approach to it, a eugenics approach. The right doesn't really know too much about science and eugenics and hiding behind psychiatry. But when they see that the left is doing it and they're all on the same white power page, they mimic them. You see that there's a lot of racism going my way, aimed at me. Again, different people saying the same sorts of things, even though everyone knows I'm completely against the LGBT community. And I was engaged to a woman, and I've done interviews with my ex-girlfriends, and it's ridiculous for them to say something so stupid. So they're full of lies, and they're hiding behind mental health. Here's a white female who claims that she's a Serena from Southern California, a Southern Hispanic gang member, basically. And notice this person is trying to induce paranoia. Very ignorant. People who aren't as intelligent as I am trying to get me to act up is what this clearly shows. And I apologize for, this actually is in the picture itself. I don't know how I got there. This guy made a video about me, and just another example of some effeminate, emasculated person trying to say some general things that shows their ignorance, and we'll get into that in a minute. There's many, many people. I've done interviews with over a dozen people who see it my way about my top martial arts challenge and the trolling, and about 40 people who know that gang stalking is real. And there's thousands and thousands, if not hundreds of thousands out there. This is a person admitting flat out that there's a gay agenda. It says, yes, we, the gay agenda to have clean energy, Google-controlled videos, and the right to say we all day and have my ass smacked. Okay? Flat out admits that there's a gay agenda, and they want to spread clean energy, homosexuality, and Google-controlled videos. So there's an IT tech kind of green movement, liberal gay agenda. This person admits it. And you'll see gays who are dumb enough to think, to try to make you think that, they can make you think that there is not one. Again, there's some people who just say things to provoke me, trying to get me angry, so that they can say that I'm mentally ill. Gosh. In the first clip, I was actually interrupted with my mother bringing me these drugs because they've put a lot of pressure on my parents to try to drug me. Again, people provoking me all day, and it's, I've done videos where I was making a song and my parents have interrupted it, knocking on the door saying, "Are you okay?" on camera. So damn well they have no idea what they're talking about. And no one in my family really knows me well enough. And those who do, those who know me, like my ex-girlfriend who's known me for 14 years, has done an interview saying that I'm one of the most normal people she knows, even though she lives in the most populated apartment complex in San Jose, and she's very extroverted. Moving on. Okay, this one is key. It says, forget the hater, man. They in their virtual world where they are invincible. I respect you because you talked a good game and you done what you said. You would so to all the keyboard commandos. You ain't doing nothing but talk, at least when we hear this brother talk. From now on, we can say with some degree of certainty that he's a real guy, and that is one thing I respect, real people and the talkers. Trolls and the like, that's one thing. You have not got credibility. That's the bottom line. The challenge was open. The challenge was open. You was nowhere to be seen, so cut the BS. You're all starting to sound like bitches. Real recognize real, and that shit was some real shit, so peace to you, my dude. Fuck a hater, just do you. Absolutely correct. What I've been saying for quite some time, you cowards are nowhere to be seen. And the person that did show up was defeated 10-0. My viewers don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Why are they singling me out? Do they care about me so much that they're going to call me racist names and try to provoke me to go to the psych ward, as I have them on record doing so? In my last interview, a person pulled up right at the end of the interview, in the middle of the road, in the middle of nowhere, where there's nowhere to pull over, pulled it on the grass. Go to my last interview with Jennifer. Now look at this person. She actually looks a lot like a female from John Muir Hospital. For whatever reason, says, oh my fucking God, laughing my ass off. Fucking white power structure. Hey, get a hobby that isn't batshit crazy. So she's saying that it is crazy to assume or to believe that there's a white power structure. Okay, if she is related to that female in mental health, a therapist, then it reflects the thinking of mental health that anyone who goes against the Judeo-European power structure must be crazy. And anyone who even believes that there is one must be crazy and drugged accordingly. You see the kind of ignorance I have to put up with from inferior minds that are trying to ruin my mind with their deadly drugs? It's the kind of nonsense I put up with. And I've gone through the list of side effects. For those of you who need me to show you the video with the list of side effects, leave a comment. You know, I assure you there's side effects. I've counted over a dozen of them that mess up martial arts. And maybe 5 to 10 that mess up, speech patterns on record. Here is a Burger King, let me go close, make sure you can see. A Burger King employee in North Florida has been arrested and charged after 2 sandwiches he made were found to have hydrocodone pills in them. So on record, they've been caught drugging people that haven't been harassed anywhere near as much as I have. Okay, now this person is a population control guy. Okay, he says humans are living longer than ever. I say, and that's part of how they justify it. Google, Rockefeller population program, or Plato for that matter. He says it's justifiable then. It's justifiable then. This guy believes that population control is justifiable. So there are many people, rich, poor, and bourgeoisie, that believe that population control is justifiable and that they should be soft killing us on record. So don't think that this is some crazy, paranoid theory. This is what they say on record. Here is me, again, after all these examples of being harassed, I don't think anybody watching this video, including the opposition view, has any qualms with me stating that it is a fact that I'm being harassed. But notice this, no one is harassing you. That is your paranoia right on point. You post on a public forum, and when people reply it's harassment, get real. How insane is that? And notice it's the same person who's racist. Peer-reviewed studies that have reached a general consensus. Chewbacca. It's racism. It's these leftist racists and the right that, in the white power movement. Because in the white power movement, you have leftists and rights. You have social democrats. You have far-right Republicans. And when the right catches on, up to, peeps game about what the left is doing, they start helping them as well. This is proof that they cyber attack me, and even from my phone, sometimes I have trouble uploading videos. This was around the time of that one shooting, the Black Lives Matter in some state where they were calling them dindus. They had a video about skinheads calling blacks dindus. Like I didn't do nothing. Dindus. Okay? Trying to provoke me. Again, these aren't, look at the video. These are videos that get 40 views a video, if that. And it's mostly the same viewers. These guys come from outside just to harass, to try to set me up. Say, accept my challenge. Countless people, who want to criticize me, but they never want to accept my challenge. It says, you're just a sad, delusional retard that thinks the world is controlled by spooky aliens. At $3,000 where you're, putting your money where your mouth is not delusional. And like I say in the comment I sent, I do not believe in aliens, idiot. Thank you for proving my point about racist whites using psychiatry to uphold white social norms. Now, I'm sure that by now you've all seen beyond any doubt firsthand that there are tons and tons, and these are just the whites who contacted me. There are millions of white people in America that use psychiatry to uphold social norms, white social norms, just like I said in my top martial artist challenge. And they provoke black political dissidents to try to play them out as well if they challenge the white power structure, white social norms, or Western philosophies. Not to mention the Western narrative of history, including stealing black history. This guy is a Satanist, and what does he say? He says, I propose a ban on guns. Okay, all you people who think the liberals are right, all those sissies, all those cowards, all those bootlickers, who are entertainers in the news, who want to take away your guns. This is a satanic movement, and I have many of them on record, Satanists, secular humanists, who are basically Satanists, who believe in secular humanism, quote unquote, pushing the agendas that I talk about. The gay community, the satanic gay community on Facebook, I have tons of proof. This guy's a Satanist. Right here he says, as I do worship Satan. And he has a weird, crazy picture. I apologize for making this video so long. I wanted to put it at the end of my other video that I'm going to make today, but I think I'm just going to have to make this a separate video. Alright, so this guy says, Red sent me. I'm with the organization. I thought you've been briefed. And this guy says the third child has been located. He has a very demonic picture. You know, that's one creepy KKK man riding a horse or whatever, a rat riding a horse. I don't know what that is. And this is a very creepy, demonic picture. You know, the third child has been located. So a bunch of occultist, satanic scum just give me a hard time. You know, part of the white power structure. Thus the term, no offense, but this term is valid, white devil. I see you're still living with your mom and dad. So being a political dissident, you know, not having your own place, just like Jesus and the 12 disciples didn't have their own place, is something that this materialistic white power structure wants you to give you a hard time about. Your flow was never good. Okay, that's your opinion, you know, if that's even your opinion. I have many people who like my music, you know, many, many, many people. You need those drugs. See that? Trying to put me down. The background changed from all your Crip shit. You say you don't hurt people, you have no record. Yeah, because people change, you fucking moron. So I'm supposed to be, you know, punished because there's a bunch of ignorant white people. And remember that video I made. In fact, I'm going to put a little clip of that video at the end of this. Remember the video I made about how Nigerians are like 3 times more educated? Nigerian Americans are 3 times more educated than white people are, something like that. You know, on average, you know, they have more, you know, graduate degrees and what have you. And it's these ignorant, inferior minds, for whatever reason, politically, racially, for whatever reason, they're not as insightful as I am. Okay? Then they claim that they're superior. They act like their argument is superior and that I should do what they say. I'm the top martial artist. There's some white trash piece of shit. I'm from one of the most educated groups of people in America. There's some fucking white trash piece of shit. I'm right and I crush their arguments. You know, I'm going through these bitches like nothing. Just like this was the battlefield and I'm slicing them down like a scorching hot knife through some partially melted butter. Just slicing them all down. You know? And as you can see, I'm keeping my cool even though I'm going through all this stuff. You know? It says, you need more meds. Here we go. We're watching you, boy, trying to induce paranoia. Nobody wants your fake securitized channel. Once I did my research into the guy, looked at his page, what did I find? This motherfucker has a pic of Obama. This guy must work for the government. Of course, he had his American Eagle. You know, it's the government doing this, upholding the white social norms. It's also white people, white groups, and so on, Masons and what have you. Says, I'm reluctant to comment because I think it will just worsen your condition. Dude, you're so far gone, it's scary. Narcissism is the least of your issues. Narcissism? I made 4,000 videos because of my empathy and compassion for people. You don't even know what narcissism means. You're the one schizophrenic. You're going to call somebody who's, you know, done more than anyone else to help humanity narcissistic? I live with my parents, pal. I'm not some rich guy who's greedy and indifferent. You have no idea what you're talking about. And he says, not only does he say schizophrenia, he says total schizophrenia delusion. Whom are you addressing in your videos? My viewers, you fucking moron. I think what is going on is you are nuts, but the part of the brain that will make other nuts just babble still works good for you. So you are trying to reason with yourself why this is happening to you, going nuts. You think making these videos is helping you out? Therapy. But bro, I think it's making it worse. That is just my opinion. You can get mad because you are the one that is publicly posting on YouTube, which opens you up to criticism. Man up, no one is after you. And I think everybody who's watched this video, including dickheads like him, know that there are people after me. Okay, why are there fucking thousands and thousands of white people commenting on my videos in the last 3 years when I get about 40 views a video? Mostly the same viewers. Mostly people with a favorable view of my videos. So where are you people coming from? Mental health, just like that lady said. She was told by an atheist affiliated with mental health to provoke me to get me involuntarily admitted into the psych ward. Yeah, look at this guy. He says, I don't want your fucking money. Another coward hiding, you know, and he calls me a racist name. If you don't like U.S. social norms, see, he's mad about the social norm. What did I tell you? What I tell you about these people having their panties in a bunch because they want to enforce white social norms, which he refers to as U.S. social norms. And that's why he capitalized it. Other than that's how it's supposed to be done, you know, he meant to highlight that. Then just leave to your shitty third world country you so proudly represent. I don't have any third world country flags other than, you know, or other than Palestine, which is not mine. Biafra is not a country, but okay. Nobody wants you here. You're just using your taxpayers' money. So you're just using taxpayers' money to play Kung Fu Panda in your parents' basement. Actually, I'm not in the basement. I'm on the second story. And you're an idiot. Moving on. Okay, this guy, he's mad. He says he's a top Navy SEALs involved in numerous raids against Al-Qaeda, 300 confirmed kills. He goes on and on about how he's such a great warrior. Couldn't accept my top martial artist challenge because he's just a bitch. Next. I think we've gone all the way through, yeah. As the top martial artist that put my money where my mouth is, doing what no other martial artist has ever done. I've achieved what no martial artist in America has ever achieved. You know, put my money where my mouth is. Okay, I'm one of the most insightful minds in America. Now let's look at the other facts, shall we? Nigerians make up less than 1% of the black population in the United States. Yet in 2013, nearly 1/4 of the black students at Harvard Business School were of Nigerian ancestry. Over 1/4 of Nigerian Americans have a graduate or professional degree, as compared with only about 11% of whites. So almost 3 times as many graduate degrees as white people have, when you're looking at the percentages and proportions. Okay? So my people, when it comes to education, are, you know, one way to look at it is almost 3 times more educated than white people, with all their white privilege, with all their fancy schools. You know, many of the Nigerians come here speaking English as a second language. I repeat, many Nigerians come to America, just like my father, who spoke English as a 6th or 7th language, speaking English as a second language, second, third. Sometimes they speak Hausa and Yoruba and other languages and variations of Igbo, and then they learn English. And yet, we are 3 times more educated than white people in their own white America, white establishment, white power structure country, where they own all the money, have all the nice schools, the private tutors. They're a bunch of cheaters. And they're drugging intellectual blacks who have the moral clarity to stand up to them in order to sabotage them. Okay? To put things in perspective for you. Now, even if they spent the rest of eternity sabotaging Nigerians because of this, they can never change the facts. They cannot claim genetic superiority over Nigerians. Basically over black people, but let's just keep it to the very obvious here and not go on too long. I've already gone on about that in other videos. They cannot claim racial superiority to Nigerians because Nigerians are operating at a disadvantage. They are competing with them at a disadvantage, and they are far more educated than they are. Bottom line, this is how it is. White people can cry about it. I'm going to give you a moment, white people, all you racist white people watching this. I'm going to give you a moment to cry about this. All right. Crying time is over. Dry your eyes. Do the right thing. Dust yourself off. And admit that you're a bunch of oppressors that refuse to tell the truth. This is not a coincidence. There's a reason why North Africa was black until the advent of technology and desertification. There's a reason why alchemy, which started in Egypt and Africa, is the root of chemistry and pharmacology, which led to metallurgy, um, and other forms of making metals, bronze, the Bronze Age. Okay? The things that allowed for the white man to gain technology, occupy areas, and steal the ideas from the indigenous peoples of the areas they colonized and occupied, which they didn't do until they had the technology whose principles were founded in Africa. There's no way around that. Read it and weep. I'm gonna give you another moment to cry. Now get off your high horses. Stop pretending you're important. I mean, read this. There are some black and Hispanic groups in America that far, keyword far, outperform some white and Asian groups. All this myths of the genius white people, the genius Asian people, it's just not true. It's a misconception. Some of the smartest people in America are Nigerians. It basically goes Jews, then Nigerians, then everybody else. For whatever reason. That's how the education scale, the education pyramid goes. So quit being liars. Quit denying my people their credit. Quit being a bunch of scientific racists on the left, upholding the left part of the white power structure, and quit being a bunch of knucklehead, inbred idiots on the right, upholding the right half of the white power structure. Get it through your heads. And Nigerians are more educated than whites are, and black people are disproportionately better at sports, successful at sports, than white people are. Mind, body, and soul, we have you beat. But you're going to argue that you're superior and you need to limit the black demographics in America? Nonsense. When black people have an African culture, they kick your ass in education. Schooled. You have been taken to school, motherfuckers. Thanks for coming out. And notice I'm keeping my cool. I'm not yelling and screaming about this, which would be perfectly understandable. But I am going along with the behavior experiment, talking about the most controversial subjects, racism, eugenics, and I'm keeping my cool. So now what are you people going to do? You going to admit that I'm right? Or are you going to say that I'm crazy and that I need to take my meds? I ask you again. Are white people going to surprise the entire world and shake their white devil label and admit that I'm right? Or are they going to cry and hide behind mainstream misconceptions and white social norms and pretend that I need to take my meds, just like the cowardly martial artists who have taken your side? Thank you.